week we're talking about Ip Man, which is a movie about a martial arts master whose name was Ip Man, and it's about his kind of resistance to the Japanese occupation in China during World War II. And we're just going to get right into it and review it. So I'm going to turn to Albert for our opening review.
Actually, I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about this, so I'm going to throw this back at you.
Whoa!
So let's hear what you have to say.
Oh no!
Yeah.
There's all kinds of new things happening today. I enjoyed this movie. I had a good time watching it. I think it's flawed. I think also our viewing experience was flawed because we watched it on Netflix. It's available for instant on Netflix, but the version we watched was dubbed, and but only the Cantonese was dubbed. So the Japanese sections weren't dubbed. So there were literally entire scenes where we had no idea what was occurring. We could figure it out.
There's no subtitles.
There's no subtitles. Nothing.
Oh my God!
So we were just like,
just straight
Japanese.
Japanese.
He's beating up on that guy. Okay, and we kind of worked it out.
Wow.
But
do you know if you worked it out after, or were you able to verify that?
well, now that we've got our confusion worked out,
Yeah.
let me explain how I felt. I enjoyed it, especially for the action. And I enjoyed the transition from a classical kind of martial arts film at the beginning, with people coming to town and you challenging different schools, to all of a sudden these masters being living on the streets. So I really enjoyed that transition.
Sure.
I felt that the historical potential of the film was wasted to some extent.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I felt like the focus was too much maybe on martial arts, and I would have really liked to see more of how they survived during that time. It felt a little bit too, in some ways, that seems weird, but like idyllic. That they actually would have been able to kind of overcome the Japanese just through martial arts. You know what I mean? That would be enough to inspire them, and that the Japanese wouldn't push back in any way, or that there are certain things, like they were allowing them to meet in the open in large groups and practice martial arts. That does not seem like something that an oppressive regime would allow.
Right.
And so there are certain things that I had flaws with, but the action choreography is fun. It's very good. And so
I think the action choreography was actually beautiful. There were just moments when, like fight scenes that were like more beautiful than any dance I've ever seen. It was some of the choreography was amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really, really good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that's interesting to hear that, because we kind of talked about action choreography last week, and I know that we considered it as a topic for today. But I mean, I was talking about how like real Asian action choreography would be more like a dance, and is very fluid and very liquid in its movements. And that was one thing that I had a real problem with. The Matrix, with all the fighting is so stiff and hard, and so you like do a punch and then like you leave your hand out there. It's like, what are you doing? Right?
Yeah, it's a different style.
Yeah. So like just watching this, like for me, like it's just back to par again. I appreciate how you guys look at it and think that it's really great and whatever. But I actually enjoyed it as just like, okay, I've seen this kind of stuff before. I'm enjoying it, but it allows me to be able to look at it, enjoy the story more as well.
So my problem with the movie was mainly things that were not the fault of the movie. The dubbing, which was really bad in places. The Kung Fu Master saying, "What's up?" That kind of problem.
There are literally moments where he walks up to people and goes, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah, it's just, he would never say
like
that.
tender moments between him and his wife where he's like, "I love you. You should go wash your face."
That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Who thinks that's a good line?
I don't know. I mean, obviously there was a mistranslation. And they just, nobody cared, or I don't know.
To fix that.
There was some, and then there was...
Guys, I'm really sorry that somehow you got the dub version. I did not have that.
Did you really enjoy it? Because I don't have a sense for it.
I really enjoyed the film. I mean, first of all, the movie was in Cantonese, which I loved, because I mean, I could listen to it.
About that.
Yeah, I mean, it's my native language, so I really enjoyed that. Not that like the that I understood everything there was to say, but it was a very good sense of feeling like I'm coming home just hearing that.
But a lot of films are normally in Mandarin, right?
And I think this works in Cantonese because this takes place in southern China, which is the dialect of that town and that general region, so it works. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the subtitles, and I actually enjoyed the overall thing. So anyways, some of these things that stick out for you, they weren't even on my radar.
We brought Tom back, and there he is. There's our Tom Caper. But
it was simultaneously endearing and.
So we're going to talk about our criticism topic this week is going to be historical license, which is the tension between changing history for story or trying to keep a film historically accurate.
This movie dealt with a lot of history.
I really struggle actually with this now that I think about it, like historical license, because I have no trouble with you changing history if it makes the story really good. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I love history.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of times when I'm like, I want you to tell the historical story.
Yeah.
But one that stands out to me is Finding Neverland, which I love. Mm-hmm. Love that film. Mm-hmm. But that is a very inaccurate portrayal of who J.M. Barrie was. Mm-hmm. His relationship with that family and how he wrote the play and everything. And so, but what they did with it and what they changed made it such a better movie because he would be an extremely annoying character and you wouldn't want to watch him.
Yeah.
If you looked at him historically accurately.
That's one of my biggest sticking points with cinema. Like, I don't mind so much when they change events around, but when they're making a movie about a person, and that person is not somebody that, if they portrayed him or her accurately, that I would want to watch, then I'm like, well, why did you even start making this movie?
Okay, with Jim Barrie, he's just kind of childish, very selfish.
I have more of a problem when they take someone who historically wasn't a villain, and like an Amadeus, and make them a villain. Mm-hmm. So basically ruin their name. I mean, because, a lot of people, you should realize this is just a movie, and this may not be the way it went down, but if you turn someone into a villain that really wasn't a villain, you're basically ruining their name historically, and that bothers me a lot.
Yeah, so there's like an entire generation that thinks Salieri
is a horrible person.
Yeah,
killed Mozart.
Made it his life purpose to destroy Mozart.
I don't see where the proof is they didn't. Pretty well
that's the same problem. I think I mentioned this before. The same problem I had with the bridge on the River Kwai.
Okay.
Was how much they vilified that general. I forget his name, but.
How do we feel about movies like Braveheart is frequently one that's pointed out?
Yeah.
That takes historical license.
Yeah.
Well.
I don't know. Yeah, Braveheart's not really considered like a biopic, you know what I mean? Like, we see that as like this epic type of thing, and we kind of take it with a grain of salt with the blue paint and all of that. You know? So,
there's
suggestion that the royal.
Alright, so I'll start with number 3. Research opinion. Yeah, well, that's fine. Yeah. So my number 3 on the list for top 3 martial art films, I'm gonna put Kill Bill Volume. Well, I'm gonna put both volumes there. Yeah, I'm gonna put Kill Bill in there. That's my number 3.
That would be in my top 3 as well. Yeah. I thought about that, and it's kind of a send up of martial arts films, but it's also a really good martial arts film.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I
really enjoyed that. It was an homage. There was some goofy.
I guess that's no debate or anything about.
No,
that's a good one to put it.
That'd definitely be in mine.
Okay, all right. My next one would be a little bit more debatable. Well, because I had done a lot of research, I found that there's one movie that's consistently at the top of every martial arts list. So unfortunately, I have not seen this, so it's hard for me to put it on there with conviction. But I wanted to put it on the list so that you guys can discuss it, assuming that you've seen it. And if you haven't seen it, then I guess we're going to have to strike that from the record. But the one that I see at the top of the list is Fist of Legend that was remade with Jet Li.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the original Bruce Lee movie that was done. But they recently remade it, I think, sometime a few years back, with Jet Li being cast in that role. And
you might have to do Fist of Legend as very... Yeah. So what's your number one?
All right, so my number one, it's hard to settle on a number one because there's so much that's good out there. But I picked this one because I felt like it was a huge milestone because of classic status.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going.
Say it like Jamaican. Whatever, man. I'm too tired to hit you right now.